boys?
Yeah, boys, oh yeah, you'd come here a lot on dates with, well, you can see, it's beautiful. You'd play Frisbee. Frisbee became the synonym for making out with a boy because I left a party once early with my friends, and I said I was going to the beach to play Frisbee with my boyfriend. And so the next day at school, or the next week, it was, oh, how was Frisbee?
So everybody knew.
And it just became, you know, you'd be talking about going out with someone. Oh, yeah, you know, we went to a movie, had dinner, and then we played Frisbee.
This was pretty much the ideal place to grow up, right?
It was fantastic, though my father has always pointed out to me, and it's true, I've noticed this in other ways, no matter where people grew up, they could have grown up in the middle of a ghetto and places they would never go back to as adults. People always say about where they grew up and how, well, it was a good place to grow up.
But this really was.
Yeah, I
Good
think
schools.
it really was.
Really?
Really nice kids. My class, you know, you read about this Columbine stuff, and boy, I'm glad we didn't have any of that. You know, people were in different groups and different cliques, but I think it was because the pretty cheerleader type girls, the popular girls, were all really nice. Or at least the main ones were, and that set the standard for everyone else. If they're nice to the nerds, then everyone was nice.
So what group were you in?
I was not in any one group. I don't know if a lot of people say this, but it actually was true of me. Mainly because I was boy crazy. So my main allegiance was always to whomever I was dating.
Oh, whatever boy you were after.
And then, you know, I played lacrosse, so I knew the lacrosse kids. I was in AP class, so I was with the AP kids. I had friends from South School where I'd gone, and junior high school just from what classes we had been in, so I was friends with them. And I didn't really attach myself to any one group.
And
I'd go from boyfriend, well, I guess I had a couple main boyfriends.
so
And friends who have known me since I was a little girl, and straight through, are always sitting back and laughing and saying, it's amazing, you have not changed at all, you are on the same on TV as off TV. People keep saying, you know, is this a shtick? Does she? No, she's always like this.
and did you ever have a liberal teacher in school?
Oh, yeah. No, the question is, did I ever have a conservative teacher? No, my first fight with a teacher was in first or second grade. She was wearing a black armband over Vietnam War, and of course, I didn't really know anything. I just heard my parents talking at home and standing by an ally, and so we go to our little librarian. She's wearing the black armband, and some kid, and she was trying to read us Bambi or whatever, and some kid asked her about the black armband, so she said, you know, the war, blah, 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 and I raised my little paw. And we never got to Bambi that day. And she did take the black armband off, but I think it was because she wanted to be able to read Bambi the rest of the day.
Did they call your parents in?
My parents knew about it, but no, there was nothing like you had, no complaints about it.
So you managed to do this politely enough that you were serving.
I must have, yeah. And I'd argue with teachers, I think, all the way through.
And what was it like at Cornell? I mean, that should have been awful.
No, it was a lot of fun.
Because how many of you were conservative on campus? 12?
It was about that. No, and worse than that, the college Republicans. And this has changed, I think, since I was it was starting to change when I was there, but when it used to be that it was the college newspapers were the conservatives, and the college Republicans were invariably the Chris Shays of the colleges. And so when I was at college, the college Republicans, their very first meeting, now think of this, you're a little conservative from say Indiana or Nebraska, and you go to the Cornell Republican meeting, and at their first meeting they show a pro-choice video and say, well, of course the college Republicans are for abortion. This is as far right as you think you're going to find on the campus now. So we shook things up a bit at the Cornell Review. Oh, and the college Republicans, that was actually my first experience with what has happened continuously, and everyone keeps remarking on now with treason, which is all the polite Republican boys ganging up on me. Oh, the college Republicans, they were always going around denouncing the Cornell Review and Ann Coulter, and we thought it was a lot of fun. Because I didn't want to go where everyone else was going. I suppose I knew from going to New York all the time that New Canaan was this idyllic little town, and I loved it. but I sort of liked the idea of a huge school with a diverse populace, to use the current lingo, and the schools that were mostly popular from New Canaan were like Williams, Princeton, Colgate, Hamilton, and they'd be fun, but it just seems like New Canaan, and I liked a city and a big. So for one thing, it was like University of Pennsylvania, Cornell was the big schools, and then I went up to visit. I visited a lot of schools. Went up to visit Cornell, and it was a beautiful spring day, and the campus is a knockout, and I totally wanted to go there, though I didn't tell anyone because I was worried I wouldn't get in. So my parents kind of knew that's where I really wanted to go, and it wasn't until I got accepted that I told everyone that was, I mean, there was no question that was where I was going to go. Would I have rebelled? Yeah, I've wondered that. I'm sure I would have, though probably not. I would have rebelled in a different way. I mean, I wouldn't have ended up being Noam Chomsky.
Which he would be glad to hear.
But I'm sure there would have been, because part of it is, which is why I like these young college Republicans I speak to, part of it is simply rebelling against conformity and authority. So I'm not sure what it is. And probably not as much of a rebellion, because you'd realize, I mean, if there, as you say, if there is such a thing as a conservative campus someplace, you'd realize that conservative campus is in rebellion against the modern culture. So at what point you're rebelling against it's hard to be too much of a conformist as a conservative in America just because the culture is so liberal.